Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Mark Boals to the program tonight. Talk about a new album that he has out called Shining Black, Postcards from the End of the World. Tell us a little bit about this, Mark.
Okay, this is the second album I've done with Olaf Thorson. We started it as a project called Shining Black. It's now a band, and this is the second album. And if you haven't heard the first one, check that one out too. But this one is really great. I'm really proud of it, and there's some really good stuff there.
Cool. Now, you and Olaf go back to about 2014, correct? So you guys have known each other for a while?
Yeah, we almost worked together a while ago. I don't know. I think it was farther back than that, actually. I was going to join the band Labyrinth, which he's a part of, one of the main guys. And the scheduling didn't work out. I wasn't able to do it. And I felt really bad about it. And we got this chance to work together again. We both jumped on it. And and since I've been working with him, it's really a breeze. It's really a good, we click. We have a good chemistry. And man, I'm having a great time with it. And we're going to do some shows later this year, looks like.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, it looks like things are finally somewhat sort of getting back to normal.
Somewhat, sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Want to reiterate, the album hasn't come out yet. It's come out March 18th on Frontiers Records. And really good stuff. Let's talk about the cover art to start with, is where I usually like to start. Intriguing picture there. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came together?
Well, that was all Frontiers, actually. I mean, they asked us they gave us the idea, and they hired the artist, and we okayed it. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Simple enough.
That's how it basically goes nowadays. You know, the labels like to do. They've always liked to do things their own way, and they give us, at least they give us free reign on the music, and we can express ourselves the way we want that way. And we're very lucky to have a label and be able to put music out. That's the way I feel. So absolutely.
Now, you mentioned the debut album, of course, came out in 2020. Once again, the project is called Shining Black, featuring Mark Boals and Olaf Thorson. Were these songs on Postcards? Were they all new songs? Was there anything left over from the debut album, or?
Absolutely not. It's all brand new stuff. All brand new ideas. Olaf, we started writing. Well, it was a while ago now. It was in 2021 we started writing this, and he'd send me some guitar riffs and I'd send back some melodies. We build it step by step that way, but it's all brand new stuff. Excellent.
Let's talk about a few of the other guys that played on the album. If you can help me out with the names, I tend to butcher these. Is it Oleg Smirnov?
Yes.
Keys and piano. Yeah. Bass player, I'm going to go with Nick. I'll let you pronounce his last name.
I'm not good at that either, but it's an Italian name. So,
okay.
You got to think Italian and you can do it.
I'm going to go with like Mazzucconi, something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
And Matt Peruz on drums.
Yes, sir. Right. And these guys are really good. They're young guys and really exciting, and they got that young guy energy, and so that gives us old guys a little bit of juice, and and it's all good. It's a good chemistry with the whole thing. So
very cool.
It's going to be really good live, I think.
Now, speaking of that, I mean, you mentioned how Olaf would send you, like, I'm assuming like files of riffs and stuff. Was there a time where you were able all ever to get together like in the same studio for recording, or was this done in bits and pieces like so many other albums are done nowadays?
Yeah, pretty much all the albums are done that way nowadays. But not yet. We haven't been able to work in the same room yet. But that'll come soon.
Yeah. Excellent.
So
you look forward to the live rehearsals then.
Oh yeah. And we're probably I'm gonna try to do a band video instead of the green screen stuff too. So
sure.
We're doing what we can, we're just building it and putting it together and seeing how far we can take it.
Very cool. Of course, I got to hear an advanced copy of it. Dustin Hardman, who set up this interview. Wanted to get into a few songs on the album. We got 10 songs here. It's like 49 minutes. You remember back in the days where everybody taped on those TDK SA90s and you could get the whole album on? You always hoped it was 45 minutes. You could get it on one side of the tape,
Right. Yeah, the 90-minute tape, which always, at the cassette player, always ate at one point or another.
Exactly. So you went just over the 45-minute mark, but some really good stuff on here. We'll start with track one, which is the title track, Postcards from the End of the World. Um, there's a lot to it. This is an ambitious, I would say the word I would use to describe this would be ambitious. With the title, the subject matter, the video is fantastic. Can you give me a little bit of insight to like how the song was named, created, a little bit into the video stuff? You got a ton of imagery in there.
Yeah, I think they did a good job putting that video together. I like it a lot. It ends up, I really hope it's not the end of the world, but we're just talking in a what if kind of situation for people to wake up. And I really think the whole world situation is going to, in a positive way, can bring people together more and let us realize that what somebody does on the other side of the world affects us over here, and what we do affects people, in other parts of the world too. We're all connected nowadays, and people need to realize that and start caring about each other.
Right. I'm losing you a little bit, Mark. Losing the connection a little bit. I understand you're on a boat.
That's my speech.
In the
Sorry.
Caribbean. Okay.
Are you there?
I'm there. I'm here. Yeah. Did you have any input on the video or anything?
Okay. Yeah. Not much. They give us some choices and ask us if we like it. And we didn't have too much in.
Okay. The next track I really liked was Higher Than the World, which is track 2. Starts off.
We hope for the best. We do our parts and hope for the best.
Absolutely.
Just being honest.
Yeah. Track 2, Higher Than the World, kind of starts off sort of balladish, and it really takes off. There's a killer solo in there from Olaf, and then sort of a quiet finale. Can you give me a background on that one a little bit?
Yeah, that particular song, Higher Than the World, is one of my favorites, and it's one of Olaf's favorites. And we had an argument with the record company that should have been one of the first singles, the second one. We wanted that to be the second one. It's hard to choose though, because I like the second song that they released also. But Higher Than the World is really melodic and heartfelt. I think it just it touches me even when I listen to it. So
yeah,
one of our favorites.
Very cool. Being you saying that, I want to jump ahead to, I had another note on Like Leaves in November's, but I want to jump ahead to Faded Pictures of Me. This is where doing this is like the gift that keeps on giving, because I get to listen to this music. These lyrics really spoke to me. Just inspiring. That was my favorite track on the album.
Okay.
Wow. Love that one.
I've done a lot of interviews today, and everybody has a different favorite. That's a good sign, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You've got a well-balanced album here. And just, you get in these periods in life, and all of a sudden, you get thinking about things. And this song just really hit home with me. What was the inspiration for this one?
Oh, it's basically, it's our life situation. We're getting older. We're not young in the tooth anymore.
Yeah.
We're still on fire for rock and roll though. But you look in the mirror and you say, what the heck happened? Who is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Just great lyrics. Like I said, I sat there, I'm like, wow, this is my life right now, Very cool. So I'll go back then to track 5. I mentioned that, Like Leaves in November. I love the title of that. Autumn, fall is my favorite time of year. And the minute I saw that, I'm like, I think I'm going to like this too, and which I did. Melancholy. And I liked how going into the solo, it had almost a cinematic atmosphere. I could see it as like a background in a movie scene somewhere.
Wow. I really hope that could happen. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Olaf is very talented. He's very much more talented than I even knew. He's surprising me every time he sends me some stuff, and really happy. I don't know what we're going to come up with next, but we're going to keep building on it.
Excellent. And then again, your titles and with words and everything, we just talked about that one, Like Leaves in November. Summer Solstice Under Delphi Sky. Who comes up with that? That's some great stuff right there. It's just not your normal type of song title, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that in a
that was,
complimentary way, you know.
yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, well, people like that song. I didn't like it at first. When I was working on it, it didn't get it. And then after I kind of was finishing it up, I went back and redid it because then it hit me and I got attached to it, but it didn't hit me at first.
Very
Strange.
cool. And then I go down to track 10, where I give every album the last song test. I want to make sure the artist is working as hard on the last song as they are on the opening song. And
Right.
Time Heals, they say, was a great closer. Was there a lot of attention given into the detail of track sequencing on this album?
Well, not any more than any other album, but we try to put it together in the right sequence. So there was always thought put into that, with better or worse results.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I just thought that was a great ender. Great tune. So,
well, I'm glad you like the album. That's awesome.
Excellent stuff. Now, you do say you're hoping to tour later on this year. Is this going to be overseas? Anything in the States? How's that coming about?
Well, we don't have anything in the States yet, but we have some offers for South America and Japan. Those are strong markets for the kind of music that we've both done before, the neoclassic stuff. I don't think this album is neoclassic at all. I think this is more of a melodic hard rock kind of genre. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to start out probably in those places. And I would really like to get on an opening slot on a nice tour with somebody so we can get seen by more people. And I think people will really dig it. So, but whatever, we want to go out and play. So we'll work it out somehow.
If you could hook up like on a dream tour to open for somebody, what band would you like to open for?
Oh, I don't know. That's too hard of a question. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Very good. You never know what offer is going to come in,
Right.
Want to go back in time and talk with you a little bit. I was fascinated with researching you and finding out where you came from and how you'd come up through. Of course, your body of work stands, for itself. You played with some fantastic people. Grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, Steeltown. And,
right.
A lot of people think Ohio, Rust Belt, it's steel, it's industry, it's stuff like that. But a lot of talent out there in Youngstown.
Oh, yeah.
Robert and Ron Bell from Kool and the Gang, Stiv Bators from the Dead Boys, of course, Bernie Kosar. You got a lot of sports talent out there.
True.
What was it like, growing up in Youngstown? Take us back to your youth and stuff like that. We were singing in church at 5 and recording yourself on your dad's reel-to-reel, transistor radio to your ear,
Well, it was like a hotbed of music. There was so many bands that came out, not just from Youngstown, but from the Northeast Ohio area, from Cleveland, Akron. The list is monumental of the talent, rock bands is in particular. And I mean, Joe Walsh, Chrissy Hind, Devo, I can't think of the list now. If I had it,
there's a
but
ton
anyway, and even more recent, the Foo Fighters, the guy from the Foo Fighters, he's from Youngstown. He's from Warren, which is really Youngstown. Dave Grohl.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so even to this day, but when I was growing up, powers that be they considered Youngstown a good test market, I guess, for bands. So we saw a lot of first shows for bands that were coming into town. We had a venue called the Youngstown Agora. It was a big theater. So I saw the first tour for AC/DC, the first tour of Boston, the first tour of John Cougar, the first tour of Rush. The list goes on. Everybody that was coming up would play in Youngstown. So I got a really good cross section of amazing bands, and the local bands that were just as good as those national bands at that time. There was just a lot of talent. So when I moved to LA, I was kind of disappointed. I thought it would be, even more full of talent. And of course it is, but it was a whole different ball game in LA.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that must have been awesome to see those bands like in the infancy of their careers, just young, hungry, lean, out there, hitting it. That must have been amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, the singer from AC/DC was carrying around Angus on his shoulders, running through the crowd. No wireless. He had a 100-foot guitar cord. The roadies running behind him, reeling it in. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Do you remember any of the songs you recorded yourself singing on your dad's reel-to-reel? You know what your first song was you laid down, or any of them?
Yeah, I think the first song, you're gonna laugh. Oh, Susanna, because I had a Stephen Foster songbook that my parents were they'd go to Florida every year to visit my grandparents who retired down there, and we went to the Stephen Foster Museum, and I heard all those songs, and I started recording that. That's the first song I recorded. I still have the tape of it. It's pretty funny.
Very cool. That's awesome. The other thing I've got to ask you about, I saw in one interview, you mentioned some of the people that you met, and this person fascinated me, and you said you learned a lot, in meeting him and were his presence and everything. Sammy Davis Jr. How did that come about?
Well, I knew I used to, when I started playing bass, I really loved jazz, and I loved jazz fusion, and I started playing with some people in Youngstown, and there was a guy who connected me to this secret kind of concert that they would have. It was a get-together once a month. It was called Blue Monday, and it was always in some abandoned nightclub, and it would always rotate to a different location every month. And that night that I went there, James Brown was there, and it was always real famous guys. Sometimes Frank Sinatra would be there, but I ended up sitting at the table with Sammy because the guy who brought me there was friends with Sammy, and we watched James Brown perform, and he was so amazing. We were in tears. I remember Sammy, he had those big glasses on. He took them off to wipe his eyes. Yeah. He was a really, really, and he sang a song for me too. He got up and sang a song. So
that is, wow.
It was really special. I was about 14 years old.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
So I grew up around giants in the business, so great inspiration for me.
Wow. Now, with your voice, did you ever do any type of singing lessons, or sing? You sang in the church. Did you sing in high school choir or anything, or is this just something you did?
No, I played in the high school. I played in the saxophone. I played tenor sax.
Okay.
And jazz band, and then the marching band. I got kicked out of the marching band, though I was too wild. So, but no, I never had any voice lessons. Particular, I've worked with a vocal coach when I was trying to get into the LA Opera, and I do sing a lot of opera stuff because when I was with Malmsteen for many years, the registers of the songs kept getting higher and higher, the vocal parts, and pretty soon I was singing like in the soprano range, and that is really hard to do 5 or 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
So I had to strengthen my voice, and I found warming up with opera arias, and I got really good at that, and I even started doing it live with Malmsteen while he would dry his hair after his 15-minute guitar solo.
Now, speaking of Malmsteen, of course, he had such a revolving door of vocalists there for a number of years with both albums and tours. I saw him twice. I'd like to know if it was you or Jeff Scott Soto on either one of these shows. September of '85, opening for AC/DC in New Haven, Connecticut.
That would be me.
Okay. And then January of '87, opening up for Maiden in New Haven. That was on a trilogy tour.
Yeah, I quit in the middle of the trilogy tour. That would be Jeff Scott Soto. He came back. Okay.
So I did get to see you then in '85 that night with AC/DC, which was very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, we did 2 tours with AC/DC, 2 full U.S. tours. It was grueling because they play 6 nights a week.
Yeah. Everybody talks about Yngwie and everything being the way he was, and I guess what I would like to ask is, do you have, everybody's like, oh, give me a story about Malmsteen. Can you give me something positive, something endearing, something nice that happened while you were with Yngwie?
Well, the best times were when you're one-on-one with him. When we'd be in his house, and he'd be just casually, drinking a beer and playing the guitar, and he would show me, he would start playing Ritchie Blackmore riffs, and it sounded exactly like Ritchie Blackmore. And then he would just be playing other stuff that is not at all like what he plays on his records. And I was really touched. He just about brought me to tears a few times. He really can play stuff that he doesn't ever show to people. Because when he plays on the albums, and nowadays he doesn't even do I mean, to me, he's not at his peak anymore, but when he was at his peak and doing his thing, it was always the same kind of style. He kept it right in the box that he imagined it that it should be in, and he never veered outside of that lane, you know. But when you'd be on a one-on-one with him, he'd play anything. He was phenomenal, and it was we had good times. We laughed, and he'd call up Steve Vai on the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning, drunk, and telling Steve all kinds of crazy stuff. Just so those were fun times, you know. But when he'd get around a crowd, he'd always feel like he had to be in character.
Yeah.
You know, his persona.
Right. Very cool. Getting back to the Shining Black project now, a couple more questions I have for you, just to return to Postcards from the End of the World. Once again, this album's coming out March 18th. That's just coming Friday on Frontiers Records. Writing process, did lyrics, was it like Olaf did music, you did lyrics, or did you both contribute, or?
Well, here's how it went. He would give the basic riffs for the song, and I'd do the melodies, and then we worked together on the lyrics, and then I would sing it. So it was it was really a good collaboration where we helped each other all along the way. But all the melodies were me. He just left that up to me.
With putting a record like this together, you know, in pieces and files and stuff, and not being in the studio together, as opposed to, you know, the old school way where everybody was in the studio doing it together. Do you like, do you have a style that you like better, or does each have its own pros and cons? Which would you prefer to do it?
Well, I would prefer to work live in the studio, you know, or, you know, write the songs together, at least in the same room. But however, that being said, I'm used to doing it this way now. I'm kind of used to it. So I don't know if I can still do it the other way, but I'd like to try. I really would, because I have fond memories of doing that.
Yeah. Everything is so digital now, whereas before it was like, you know, stop the tape, rewind the tape, cut the tape, you know, and everything else. You mentioned one more video. Are you at liberty to say which song it is, or do we have to wait and see?
Yeah, you have to wait and see, because
okay.
I don't know. I don't know if the record company is going to give us a budget for it, but we've decided if they don't, we're going to do it ourselves. So,
oh, very cool. Is there any one of these tracks that you're really looking forward to play live?
Oh God, all of them. But you know, I like "We Are Death Angels." Seems to be, that's like a heavy. It's really the metal song on the album. That's always fun.
Yeah. That was my note. I'm glad you said that was my note. Heavy was for "We Are Death Angels." So very, very cool. Once again, we're chatting with Mark Boals for Let's Discuss with latest on the project called Shining Black, featuring Mark Boals and Olaf Thornson. Album is called Postcards from the End of the World. 10 songs, great tracks, 50 minutes. Mark, if you don't mind, I always like to finish my interviews with just fun questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never been asked before. Sound good?
Okay, go.
If you were to run for president, what would your campaign slogan be?
Wow. Free beer.
Very good. What is something that you splurge the most money on?
It's boring, but it's music equipment, definitely.
Okay.
I buy things that I always buy the most expensive things because I like a good quality, and I buy rare guitars and things like that.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, everybody's got to have their vice, you know.
Yeah.
In a group, you mentioned how Yngwie, you know, felt like he had to be in character. When you were in a group, are you like the funny guy, the serious guy, the inquisitive guy, the quiet guy? What kind of guy are you in a group?
I'm pretty much the serious guy or the straight guy. I'm the one that lets the other guy tell the joke, and I
All right. If you could have been born in a different era, what era would you pick?
I think the 50s. 50s in America was the prime of everything. I think it was the prime of American USA civilization.
Yeah, definitely. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
My mini bike, I guess.
All right.
I got a mini bike when I was 11. Yeah, go ahead.
Very cool. We'll stick with your youth for a moment. If you could go back in time and eat one of your mom's home cooked meals from your youth, what would you have her pick? What would you have her cook?
The Sunday roast beef. She made roast beef every Sunday.
Very cool. First car you bought with your own money?
'66 Lincoln Continental town car.
Wow. Nice. Go big or go home. Favorite old school wrestler?
Oh, what's his name? Freddie Blassie.
Oh, classy Freddie Blassie. Very cool. If you could pick a television show to have one of your songs placed in, say like one of the new Shining Black songs, what TV show would you pick?
Oh, well, TV shows are. It's hard to configure a TV. What is a TV show now? I mean,
exactly.
Something on Amazon or Prime, or is it something on one of the 3 networks, or is it on Disney? There's so many.
Yeah.
I'm really into the new Star Wars series, though.
Okay. That'd be very cool. Very cool. Last one. This is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you in it? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Wow. Nicolas Cage, because he's nuts. Yeah.
Right. Just to get us, he would be. Fantastic actor. Just to get us back into music for a moment, if a youngster were to come up to you and say, Mr. Boals, when I grow up, I'd like to be, a vocalist in a rock and roll band, what advice would you give them, be it male or female? They came up to you.
Well, it's hard work. I mean, you got to take care of yourself, and you got to take care of your voice and learn as much as you can. Study music and learn every aspect of music. I mean, you can't just jump into singing. Even if you're talented, you make a lot of mistakes. So study and hook up with somebody who's better than you.
Good advice. The group project is called Shining Black. Mark Boals featuring Mark Boals and Olaf Thorson. The album is called Postcards from the End of the World, coming out on Frontiers Records this coming Friday, March 18th. We look forward to the next video and hopefully seeing you out playing live. I would love to see this lineup go out and slay some of these songs in a live setting. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna happen. It'll happen.
All right. Mark, thank you very much for your time today, and enjoy the rest of your cruise.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.